What if I told you there's a stadium where the walls literally shake from the roar of its fans, and it's about to undergo the most ambitious renovation in South American football history? Welcome to La Bombonera, the legendary home of Boca Juniors, where Maradona scored his first professional goal at just 16, and where a chocolate box-shaped arena has echoed with passion for 85 years. But here's the thing, after decades of being stuck in time, this iconic stadium is finally set for a $100 million transformation, one that could turn it into one of the largest and most modern stadiums on the continent. And leading the charge is none other than Juan Román Riquelme, the club legend turned president, now holding the fate of this football temple in his hands. Stay with me as we explore why this aging stadium desperately needs change, the incredible designs that could transform it forever, and the fierce political battles that could make or break this project. Let's start with why this matters. La Bombonera isn't just any stadium, it's a sacred ground where football legends are born. Opened on May 25, 1940, this chocolate box-shaped marvel has witnessed Carlos Tevez become a symbol, Diego Maradona create magic, and millions of fans create an atmosphere so intense that the stadium literally vibrates. The steep stands and unique D-shape turn La Bombonera into a sound chamber, trapping noise and blasting it back toward the pitch. Every chant feels like a physical force, which is why the Observer newspaper ranked attending a match here as one of the 50 sporting things you must do before you die. But here's the problem that's been building for decades. La Bombonera was built in 1940. We're talking about an 85-year-old structure that's only received minor improvements since opening. The corridors feel dangerously narrow during packed match days. The capacity of just 54,000 seats falls dramatically short of demand from Boca's massive fan base of over 320,000 members. But this isn't the first time Boca's owners have dreamed of something bigger. Former president Mauricio Macri, who led the club from 1995 to 2007, had already made significant changes by adding a fourth tier in 1996 and modernizing the stadium with VIP boxes and a museum. But even his improvements weren't enough. In the 2010s, there were serious discussions about building a completely new stadium and demolishing the historic La Bombonera altogether. Over the years, renovation plans surfaced again and again, but political disputes, land ownership issues, and neighborhood resistance brought everything to a standstill. Every new president brought a new vision, but none could cut through the red tape. Beyond capacity, there are serious safety concerns. The stadium was built before modern crowd flow, emergency evacuation plans, and anti-panic designs were strictly enforced. Today's top stadiums must comply with international safety protocols, including wider exits, safer materials, and modern crowd management systems. When La Bombonera opened in 1940, Boca Juniors had a fraction of today's membership. Now they're one of the most popular clubs in the world, but they're stuck in a stadium built for a different era. Home matches regularly sell out, leaving thousands of eager supporters without tickets, and there's currently a 7-year waiting list just to become a club member. The aging technology is another major issue. From lighting to broadcast systems, La Bombonera needs major upgrades to match international standards and compete with modern stadiums like River Plate's revamped Monumental or Real Madrid's transforming Bernabeu. This crisis peaked when Boca faced losing eligibility to host major international tournaments. Something had to change, and fast. But the solution wouldn't be simple. It would involve politics, massive funding, and choosing between preserving history or embracing the future. After years of different proposals and political battles, Boca Juniors has finally settled on their vision for the future, Bombonera 360. This ambitious plan, originally conceived back in 2015 and championed by former President Jorge Amor Amial, will transform the current stadium into a fully enclosed arena with a capacity of 82,000 spectators. The vision is absolutely breathtaking. The project aims to construct new stands to complete the oval shape, preserving the stadium's legendary acoustics while enhancing them even further. The plan involves raising the height of the playing field and adding a fourth tier to the stadium. But here's the genius part. They would demolish the current boxes and build 3 terraces identical to those facing the west side of the venue, creating perfect symmetry for the first time in La Bombonera's history. But this isn't just about adding seats. The redesign includes commercial and cultural spaces, a micro stadium for events, and green zones, all topped with a lightweight roof to modernize La Bombonera without losing its soul. The Bombonera 360 design pays homage to the original vision of the stadium's creators, the renowned Delpini Sulcic Bes Architectural Office, who were some of the best architects of their time in Argentina. Back in 1940, they had dreamed of perfect symmetry for the stadium, but space constraints made it impossible. Now, nearly 85 years later, this dream can finally become reality. Bombonera 360 keeps the iconic chocolate box shape and replicates the steep enclosed stands on all 4 sides, amplifying its famous sound chamber effect to new levels. State-of-the-art upgrades will also position the stadium to host global events, including potential 2030 World Cup matches. Since Juan Román Riquelme became president in December 2023 with over 65% of the vote, the Bombonera 360 project has been refined to reflect his community-first philosophy. Unlike previous versions that might have required massive residential displacement, Riquelme's approach prioritizes neighborhood harmony. As Riquelme himself stated, "We will never knock on our neighbors' doors asking them to leave their homes." This marks a significant shift in how the project will be executed, focusing on smart engineering solutions rather than forcing community displacement. The refined Bombonera 360 under Riquelme's leadership aims for a capacity increase to around 82,000 spectators while respecting the surrounding community. It's a perfect balance of ambition and responsibility, ensuring the stadium's transformation enhances rather than disrupts its neighborhood. Now here's where this story gets really dramatic. Construction is set to begin in 2026, with completion expected by 2028. The renovation will be done in phases, working on one section of the stadium at a time so that the rest of the stadium can remain open for matches. This phased approach helps the club maintain revenue and avoid a full stadium shutdown. But the biggest hurdle wasn't funding or engineering, it was politics and heritage protection. Because La Bombonera is part of Buenos Aires' protected historical monuments, you couldn't just knock down a wall or expand a stand without getting approval from urban planners, heritage councils, and local residents. The very legacy that makes La Bombonera iconic was also what made it nearly impossible to renovate. For years, the stadium sat on the city's list of over 4,300 protected properties, essentially freezing any major changes. This created a paradox. The club needed to modernize to survive, but preservation laws prevented the necessary changes. Then came the breakthrough that changed everything. On October 17, 2024, the Buenos Aires City Legislature made a crucial decision. In a move that shocked many, they removed La Bombonera from the catalog of protected properties of the city, along with River Plate Stadium and 2 other sports facilities. But removing heritage protection created new controversies. Local residents in La Boca neighborhood worried about massive construction projects displacing their community. Some proposals, particularly the Bombonera 360 plan, would require purchasing and demolishing entire residential blocks, affecting hundreds of families. 7 houses located on Del Valle Iberlucea Street, directly adjacent to the stadium, remained on the protected properties list even after La Bombonera was removed. This created a complex situation where expanding eastward would require negotiating with protected residential properties, while the stadium itself could be freely modified. This is where Juan Román Riquelme's leadership philosophy becomes crucial. Unlike previous administrations that considered forcing residents to sell, Riquelme has taken a firm stance against displacement. His approach prioritizes community relations over maximum capacity, suggesting the final project will be more modest, but more sustainable than the grand visions of the past. Let's talk numbers, because they're staggering, but in a good way. When it comes to the Bombonera 360 project, the price tag isn't nearly as impossible as many expected. The full-scale renovation is estimated between 70 to 100 million US dollars, depending on how ambitious the final design gets. And here's something surprising: money isn't the main obstacle anymore. Back in 2017, acquiring the surrounding residential properties, a key part of the Bombonera 360 plan, was projected to cost around $19.6 million. But with the recent collapse in Buenos Aires property values, that figure has dropped to just $15 million today. That's a game changer. So where's the money coming from? Unlike many stadium projects that lean heavily on government aid or massive bank loans, Boca Juniors has built a self-sustaining model. The club generates significant revenue through membership fees, match day income, TV rights, and commercial partnership. In fact, recent reports suggest that Boca already has the funds in place to begin the Bombonera 360 project. This financial readiness gives Riquelme's administration a major advantage. They can move forward without compromising the club's future. But it doesn't stop there. The expanded stadium could unlock new revenue streams, commercial spaces, concerts, cultural events, and even hosting international tournaments, all of which would bring in substantial income and global exposure. And while some critics once feared the plan would disrupt the neighborhood, current discussions point toward a more community-friendly version of the project, one that could still boost capacity while preserving the stadium's legendary acoustics and intimate atmosphere. Whatever version is ultimately chosen, one thing is certain: La Bombonera is ready for its next chapter. After 85 unforgettable years, this sacred ground isn't fading away, it's evolving. The walls will still shake, the fans will still sing, but when this transformation is complete, La Bombonera will be ready to create magic for another 85 years, and that's a future worth waiting for. What do you think? Is Bombonera 360 the right path forward? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more stadium stories that will blow your mind.